The president-elect has already saved over 1,000 jobs in America. Ford Carrier, a $50 billion Japanese investment. And just yesterday, IBM pledged 25,000 jobs, American jobs. In the aftermath of Mr. Trump's promises to reduce taxes, roll back regulations, and make America a business-friendly place again, the president-elect pledging to create a whole lot more when he gets into the White House.
My administration will be focused on three very important words: jobs, jobs, jobs. Whether it's building cars, producing steel, or curing disease, we want the next generation of innovation and production to happen right here in America and right here in Wisconsin, right? We're going to eliminate all wasteful, job-killing regulations. Buy American and hire American, right? From now on, it's going to be America first. America first.
Mr. Trump met with some of the tech world's biggest names today for a job summit at Trump Tower. Attendees included Amazon's Jeff Bezos, Apple's Tim Cook, Tesla's Elon Musk, and others. Here's what the president-elect told them when they arrived.
I just want to thank everybody. This is a truly amazing group of people. I'm here to help you folks do well. And you're doing well right now, and I'm very honored by the bounce. They're all talking about the bounce, so right now everybody in this room has to like me at least a little bit. But anything we can do to help this go along, and we're going to be there for you. And you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference. We have no formal chain of command around here.
So, Dana, Amazon, Oracle, Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, but no Twitter.
No Twitter. Do you know why?
I hear a rumor.
What is it?
That there was an emoji problem. Houston,
it's
we
a
have
heck
an
of a
emoji
reason not to include the...
Is it that, or is it that their market cap wasn't big enough?
I have no idea why Twitter wasn't invited, but who cares? I think
who cares?
So this is a huge part of the growing economy, not just here in America, but around the world. And I think there's so many interesting things about all that they're doing. In fact, Amazon today delivered its first delivery by drone, right? So no people involved, there are no jobs, and you can't tax that. Okay, so there's huge problems coming for the American economy with technology. Great stuff too. It's not just problems, there's opportunity as well. If I would have been in the room, and I'm sure they probably did talk about this, I would have brought up three main things. One is this issue about job training. You bring up IBM. Yes, they announced that they would do 25,000 jobs. They also put in a plug for more federal money for job training, because America needs to be able to have workers that can actually do the work of this new economy. The other thing I would have asked them about is immigration, because we know that they want high-tech visas to be able to be smoothed out, but they also have to figure out what they would want to do for other immigrants that would come to this country. And the tech community has sort of hid behind this visa issue and not taken a stand. And the third thing I would have asked them about and asked them for is cooperation on intel issues, especially when it comes to fighting terrorism.
That's a big one,
while they're all
right?
in the room, I would have said, I want your word that you're going to be able to work with me on this.
And KG, terror, also fake news. I mean, these people are some of the fake news. They're hosting some of the fake news sites as well. How do you push back on that?
Well, yeah, so this is kind of a complicated situation, but if you look at the bigger picture here, you see the president-elect surrounding himself with innovators, with business leaders, with the people that are part of the technology boom in Silicon Valley. That's a sight you want to see. This is somebody who promised jobs, jobs, jobs to the American people, that the working men and women would not be forgotten or left behind. So he has businesses best and brightest at the table. There's a number of issues they're going to discuss, also probably the H-1B visas, because there was a concern there in Silicon Valley from the tech industry about getting affordable labor and getting young students in and things of this nature. So this is exactly the right start that you want. He has people at the table, not that were just fans or admirers or supporters, but people who were detractors, like Bezos, who owns the Washington Post, that were not, to say the least, all in on President-elect Trump. So it's a start.
And Greg, he's entertained Democrats. He's entertained anti-Trumpers, as Kimberly points out, and the tech crew who very, very famously and openly went for Hillary Clinton.
Well, this is the hypocrisy of these tech giants in Silicon Valley. They reap the benefits of the freest country in the world, the freest country the world has ever seen, but they don't show their gratitude. When you look at something like World War II, when you see the companies like General Mills who made gun sites, and you had Pillsbury and Hormel making food for the Allies, what did Twitter do? Who's not there? You know, they cut off our intelligence. They cut off our intelligence from using data miner. Data miner was a way to look at published tweets, to look at propaganda from terrorists. They didn't let our intelligence services look at that. So I think going back to your point, that there are two things you've got to look at. The first thing is terror. We are dealing in a new era where we need their help. And they should help us, because they can't sit there and lecture Americans from their glass prism in Palo Alto, where they're not, like, imagine, they should do a thought experiment. You know, Google should imagine being in Iraq or being in Syria or being in Egypt. What kind of target would they be? But they're in Palo Alto, so that doesn't happen. The other thing in terms of technology, we know you can't stop progress, and progress means two things: driverless cars, which will eliminate jobs, save 34,000 lives, but will eliminate jobs. Can you deal with that problem? How is Trump going to establish a tariff for getting rid of drivers? Then you're going to have those supermarkets that don't have checkers or baggers, and Amazon is establishing that. Do you try to suppress innovation with protectionism and tariffs? No, you've got to encourage it.
Okay. Can I just point out that those were companies that were trying to leave the country and then put their goods back into the country once they leave, as opposed to
that's okay. That's
innovation and progress from within. Okay, fair enough. $4 trillion worth of market cap represented in that room. Mr. Trump extended an olive branch to a group who was pretty hostile towards him for the last 18 months.
Without a doubt, they didn't want him. I think Sheryl Sandberg, after the election, said with regard to Clinton, "We fell short." That's her quote. So these people don't like Trump, and they have some major disagreements here. I mean, the obvious one is something like globalization. You know, the tech industry is all about globalization. That's new markets for them. Trump is not for globalization. When it comes to free trade, they're all for free trade. They're sending their goods out. They're trying to spread their innovations worldwide. Donald Trump wants to bring everything back to the USA. So they're at odds. And I think when it comes to the terrorist business we were just talking about, again, they're at odds because it's not just terrorism. It's also things like creating data registries that have to do with making it possible for mass deportation, also making it possible for religious concerns about Muslims or any of these other issues that I think that the tech industry is going to be very uncomfortable with.
But no one's asking them to do that.
Yeah, well, I see, that's the fear on the part of the tech people, is that when they go at something like cooperating with the government, that they then get into a position where they can not only scan your emails to see if you're talking to somebody, but that they also say, hey, you know, that Greg Gutfeld, we have suspicions about him, and pass it on to the government. See, they don't want to be a tool for the government.
This is something we talked about quite a bit, and frankly had some heated discussions about it, that they were tapping, the government was tapping Google and Facebook and Twitter and data mining their data over the
It was published data, though. It wasn't private.
No, the data miner, Google stuff, the Verizon,
Twitter stuff.
He's talking about the NSA program.
Yeah, the NSA program where they're actually
talking about
taking...
data miner, which is different.
Yeah, I was talking about data miner.
Right, but the point is, should they work with... I mean, look, if they were working with the Obama administration to that degree, should they do it with the Trump administration?
In fact, the Obama administration put pressure on them to come to Greg's point to say, if you are able to help us find terrorists, you shouldn't be holding back. That pressure is there. The question is, how far is Trump willing to go, and is he willing to punish them?
Well, this is a very interesting concept now, because if Trump is a non-interventionist and has pushed against the Fourth Amendment violations that I think the NSA was perpetrating on America for a long time, will he say, no, we're not going to request that same type of access?
Oh, I think he is, because he's anti-Snowden, from what I can remember.
Yes.
And he's anti-ISIS. What got Trump elected, aside from rebelling against the PC, was his pro-terror stance, his ability to say radical Islam. We needed to hear that. He's going to have no truck for people saying, I'm worried about, offending people's, rights. And back to the NSA stuff, yeah, there's a lot of people who believe that wasn't a violation because they were just data points. We don't know who they were. They were just phone numbers.
Yeah, but they were Americans.
Yeah,
it was a blanket, right, it was a blanket.
So
it's
addresses.
just like going to the post office and say, I'm going to open your letter, right?
No, because you're not opening it.
No,
you're not reading it.
No, but you get the addresses, and the next step, this is like the elephant's
But
nose
if you
on-
go
the
to get a
camel's
warrant,
nose
then
on
you
the
can do
tent.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's ways,
right,
yes,
but
there's
it's
system of
warrantless
checks and
stuff.
balances in place to be able to do certain things. But for example, let's go back to San Bernardino, where we had the terror attack exactly in the Apple phone and all the pushback, the legal, documents that had to be filed, motions before the judge, trying to twist the arm of some of these tech companies to do the right thing, to try to say, let's prevent terrorism on U.S. soil, when we have these people that have been radicalized or acting on behalf of ISIS or other groups that would seek to destroy our way of life. So that is part of his...
But that's consistent, though.
Right.
Well,
Where
it is
where
consistent, but the point is that is part of the intelligence
when you're
piece
data
and
mining
intelligence gathering.
when you're data mining a group, not because you have a specific threat or feeling that there could be a specific threat or anyone associated with that threat.
Right.
That's
Find a
the
needle in a haystack, you need a haystack.
You do. But so one last point
And then
on
you
this,
look for
which
data points.
has to do with something that's so central to Donald Trump's rise in American politics, which is immigration. These folks want more immigration. Donald Trump says no. Now, the question becomes, well, who benefits when you have high-tech able to bring in more people from around the
I
world?
think Donald Trump's, I think he's supportive of more high-tech visas.
Well, that's the question, because the high-tech visas benefit a very small slice of highly trained people.
But
and
if
the
they
question,
are
and there's
creating
lots
new
of,
technologies that
that's
help
right. That's the
improve
argument.
lives around the world.
Right.
then
One other
But the
argument.
counter-argument,
There's one other argument, though, is that they're legal.
What?
It's that they're legal. They're here legally.
No, but they're limited. If
They're
you
H-1B
limit the
visas.
number, that's the counter
what I'm
pressure.
saying.
You're
But
right.
the
I know. I'm trying to tell why.
Trump
They're H-1B visas.
Trump didn't push
I
back
know.
against legal immigration and legal visa being here legally on a visa.
So
He's
the
pushed
question
back
is
against
how
illegals.
many, and there are limited numbers of H-1B visas available. They want to increase that amount. Will Trump go along?
Right. I know what you're
and
saying,
don't
because
forget,
he wants jobs here for unemployed Americans to
This
be
is
able
my
to,
point I'm
to
trying to
factor
make.
into the workplace.
the point I'm
besides
trying to make
H-1B
is what
visas,
you
people
see
coming
is
in.
it's a very limited slice. And so people who are in this country, and I particularly point out minority groups in this country, have not benefited, do not participate in the high tech. Is President-elect Trump willing to say to them, oh, do more for these kids who have some ability but aren't getting into high tech in the USA?
They're wrapping us. Quick thoughts?
This is a great opportunity for the Republican Party to be the party of science, innovation, and technology and progress. Tariffs and protectionism is part of the past.
Dana?
And I would say for foreign students that come here, if they do get a degree here in America and they want to work in America and
I'm all for
participate
it.
in our economy, that we should allow them to do that.
Absolutely.
And allow them to bring their families here as well. But that kind of immigration is helpful.
But don't build clocks.
But you know that I am sensitive about the lower income people. So
Don't build clocks.
We're off.
If you start building clocks,
We send you
Right,
back.
bowling, but a lot of the people there in that group prefer open immigration and wanting to increase the number of H-1B visas, where, from what I understand, President Trump wants to say, well, if you're going to increase that number, then perhaps you should be required to pay them a higher wage, so then it encourages people as well to provide jobs for Americans who are unemployed and seeking to be part of the
And that's where the
labor
money for
force.
job training comes in.